Everybody, if you haven't seen that cut of Jon Stewart talking to Stephen Colbert on his show, it's very, very funny. Jon Stewart was always a funny guy. There's no questioning that. Very, very funny guy. A full-on lefty. I mean, let's be honest, full-on lefty. And if you never ever watched the show before, Colbert was the show that he did that was after Jon Stewart, and he was always, people got it afterwards. He was actually making fun of the right, because Colbert is even a more crazy lefty than fucking Jon Stewart ever was. I mean, I wouldn't even call Jon Stewart a crazy lefty. He's a lefty, that's all. He's not crazy, but anyways, Colbert was always, he was trying to play the part of the answer to Jon Stewart, but the reality was that Colbert was just making fun of right-wing people, because he hates right-wing people. It's obvious he hates them. So it was all a goof. It was all his view of what right-wing people are in his eyes, you know? And so it was a goof. And that was funny too, but again, if you haven't seen it, Jon Stewart goes on and he says, you know, what everybody else in America with the brain has been saying from the start, that this thing came from a fucking lab, you know, that's where it came from. We don't need some fucking idiot, people that work for the WHO that are in China's pocket to tell us that it came from a fucking bat, right? Anyways, and it's a hilarious take on it, and it's the truth. And you can see that Stephen Colbert is just like, oh, this is not what we talked about backstage. You weren't going to go off on this tangent. And of course, Colbert is trying to defend the official narrative, but Jon Stewart's just hitting him with straight up logic, you know? Straight up logic. And you got to commend Jon Stewart for doing that on national television. I mean, I'm sure Stephen Colbert will probably never ever have him on his show again, because he just made Stephen Colbert look like a fucking idiot, you know? And again, I mean, Jon Stewart's always been that guy who fucking says what everybody else in the room is thinking. That's always been his shtick. If you ever watched Jon Stewart back in the day, okay. Why did it take until that moment when now it's okay to talk about it? If he had said these same things that he was saying on Stephen Colbert's show 3 months ago, right? 3 months ago, he'd be totally labeled by the press and everything. I mean, he is already labeled by the press as this, oh, he's turning on us, he's not a lefty anymore, but it's not as much backlash because now everybody's pretty much accepting the fact that, yes, it did come from that fucking lab. So, again, would he have done this 3 months ago? No, because he didn't do it 3 months ago. He should have did it a fucking year ago is when he should have did it. Because all the facts were there over a year ago. It was all there. It was just covered up by the media and by pundits, because that's what Jon Stewart is. He's a pundit. He's not a fucking reporter. He's a pundit. And that's, I think, one of the things a lot of people are missing. Stephen Colbert is not a news source. He's a pundit. And again, just gotta, it's good that he came out and said something, but it would have been nice if he had said it a year ago, okay? Because there's a lot of people that are hold sway by pundits. And I'll get to that point. This is my statement to Jon Stewart. I mean, I condemn you for that, but you are one of the biggest reasons why news is the way it is now. What do you mean, Cody? Well, because news has become opinions now. People that are reputable news anchors, they're just spouting their opinion on air now, okay? There was no Tucker Carlson's and stuff like that, Rachel Maddow's before Jon Stewart. There was none of that, okay? These are people just spewing their opinion. Now, people watch them to go, oh, what's the news that happened today? But the reality is they're just giving their opinion. And this all started with Jon Stewart. Jon Stewart's show, The Daily Show, was an opinion piece. Jon Stewart's opinion of the daily news. That's what it was. It was never ever we're breaking the news. It always had a slant on it. Now, a lot of the times his opinion would make fun of the left too. But again, there was always a left-leaning slant to his opinion. Okay, always. And that's who started this exchanging news with opinion pieces. He's the one that started it. So my thing to Jon Stewart is, you're partly to blame for the reason why news is the way it is now. You, my friend, who you did a very brave thing on Stephen Colbert's show, but you started this whole thing, this whole trend of, oh, we're just going to run opinion. We're not going to report the news in a non-biased fashion. No, we're going to do opinion pieces. And that's going to be our whole show. And now you have whole shows like it. Sean Hannity, Tucker Carlson, Rachel Maddow, Brian Stelter. Okay? Two righties, two lefties, but they're all doing the same thing. They're spinning the news in their partisan fashion. And again, this didn't exist before Jon Stewart. If there was going to be an opinion piece, it'd be like, okay, this is an opinion piece. And they would frame it as such. But now it's all framed as, this is the news, this is what happened today, when really it's just somebody's opinion about the news. And it started with Jon Stewart. So, you, my friend, again, I applaud what you did the other day on Colbert's show, but you, my friend, are the reason why everything is an opinion. You started this whole trend. I mean, you should really look at yourself in the mirror and say, you bear a little responsibility for this, because now millions of people watch shows like this and think it's an opinion. Think it's like the facts, when it's just an opinion. How many millions of people watch Rachel Maddow and think they're actually watching a news show when they're not? Yeah, a news show is, this is the facts. Okay? A police officer shot a man because he was robbing a store. This is what happened. That's a news piece. Now, opinion piece is, unarmed black man shot by white police officer. Now it's opinion, because it's like, what does it matter the races of the people? It doesn't matter, right? It was a criminal that was shot by a police officer. That's the only thing that matters. It doesn't matter what the races are, but now everything is about race, intention. You know, well, Derek Chauvin just, he just didn't make a negligent mistake. He did it because he hates black people. That's the spin on that one. Yeah, again, opinion. There's no proof that he killed George Floyd because he hates black people, but yet that's how it's reported in the media, and millions of people in America believe that. I mean, to the point, a whole jury believed that narrative, even though I think all the facts, because I watched the trial, and all the facts are right there. Yeah, he's probably guilty of negligence, but he didn't murder that man. Manslaughter, yeah, I could live with that, but not murder. But again, opinion. It's all opinion. And that's what drives the news cycle now. It's all opinions. I mean, look at all these things that have been proven to be false, that they said that Trump did. Trump did this, Trump did that. All these things. There's a laundry list of them. And they've had to retract the stories. And so what does that tell you? It says somebody with an opinion that doesn't like Trump just wrote an article with no facts, right? No backing. They just wrote an article because of how they feel about Trump. It's their opinion about it. And to the point to where their opinion is clouding their judgment as a journalist, that they're willing to make up falsehoods and pass it off as a story, and then it gets put out there, and then millions of people see it, and it sways public opinion, all based off of a lie. This has happened numerous times with Donald Trump. How many of those stories? Tear gassing the protesters. Nope, that's not true. Everything. The Ukraine call. Nope, that's not true. The Russians allowed them to win the election. No, that's not true. Again, these are all opinions that become fact somehow, and then they're in a news cycle. I mean, for some, the Russia thing was in a news cycle for pretty much his whole presidency. Even now to this day, even though it was proved by an investigation by Robert Mueller, it was proven to be totally false, In fact, it was the intelligence agency that was spying on him and making up bullshit. It's all proven, yet millions of people still believe that he's a Russian agent and the Russians interfered with the election and allowed him to become president. People still believe that, even though it's been proven to be totally false. Totally false. Again, COVID-19, all these opinions, hydroxychloroquine is not effective. All these people wrote it, they laughed at the president. Turns out it is an effective treatment. It is an effective treatment. Yet somebody's opinion, how many people died because of somebody's opinion? Right? Again, nobody reports this, right? Anyway, if we had been honest about the lab leak, if Fauci had been honest about it from the start, maybe we could have fucking actually found out exactly what happened. Now we'll never know because the Chinese have had over a year to cover it up. You know? We probably could have found out what really happened in the beginning if we had been honest about it. But nope. Again, opinion. Opinion. So, in a roundabout way, going back to Jon Stewart, again, that shit was funny, and I give you credit for fucking calling out the bullshit, but you should have did it a year and a half ago, and you're the reason why media, or part of the reason why media is the way it is. You, my friend, Jon Stewart. So you should look yourself in the mirror. I know right now you're patting yourself on your back and everybody's like, wow, that was great. You stood up to the great Stephen Colbert and told him to shove it and blah, 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 blah. And all people, conservatives are all cheering this on like it's fucking so awesome. Again, it was very funny, but ironic that this man who made a living off of being a pundit is now considered a reputable news source. Like, where were you? Where were you a year and a half ago, Jon Stewart? This information was all there. That's what I have to say to you, Jon Stewart.